Yeah, go ahead. We'll pull it up. All right, so the 4B movement is a radical feminist movement. It first emerged during the South Korean gender wars during the mid to late 2010s. The name refers to its defining 4 tenets, which all start with the Korean roughly meaning no. Its proponents refuse to date, get married, have sex, or have children with cisgender men. As opposed to cisgender women? Okay. Scroll down. Oh, wait, actually, sorry. Go back up really quick. And it says, interest in 4B increased in the United States after the re-election of Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential race. Like the radical feminist movements that arose out of, a small subset of it has been accused of furthering a
transphobing.
Well, I know what it says. However, most proponents of the movement... Okay, scroll down. So these are the beliefs, the 4 no's. No sex with men, bisexu, no giving birth. Anybody here speak Korean? No, okay. All right. No giving birth. Okay, whatever. No dating men, no marriage with men.
This is a nun.
So.
Yeah, that's a nun.
So. It's a nun.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Well, it's a fucking idiot. What it is. This is the funniest thing in the world. So here's the idea here. The idea here is that a bunch of Christian Bible-thumping conservatives told a bunch of OF prostitutes, hey, we want you to stop being OF prostitutes. In response to this, by taking away what they perceive as their right to abortion, they're saying that they're going to immediately stop being prostitutes. I think it's hilarious and in every way conceivable funny. They're basically playing into exactly what was requested of them, right? Which is, well, you wouldn't have as many abortions if you weren't out sleeping with everything that walked. So by you not doing that, you're not going to have as many abortions. This is the point, right?
Where was that in the article?
He just gave his take on it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I didn't read any of that.
And I would say not everything that walked and paid. Let's get that clear.
Hello.
Yeah, right.
What's wrong with prostitutes?
So here's the general idea. Conservative Christians are saying, look, we don't want there to be abortions, and we think that there will be way less abortions if men and women aren't having promiscuous sex. I agree, that's logical, right? Yes. The less sex that's being had outside of marriage, obviously the less abortions there's going to be. Mm-hmm. The radical feminist response to this is, oh yeah, well, we'll teach you a lesson by not having sex. I don't see how this is hurting the other side, since that's what they wanted to begin with. I don't actually understand why they're not basically playing into the right wing's hand with this.
I don't get it.
I don't know.
They just sound like a bunch of weirdos. What?
I get what you just said. So to break down the 4B, is it a term that you call someone? Is it a movement?
Well, here,
Could you explain that?
Well, let's break it down more simply. Forget 4B, right? You'll see this trend all over TikTok, and you'll see it all over social media right now with women who are not just radical feminists, but just kind of Harris supporters. And so their essential argument is this: if we can't have abortions, right, then we're just going to stop sleeping around with men. We're just going to stop having sex with men. And this is our way of teaching men a lesson for trying to involve themselves in the details of our bodies. The right wing and conservative right wingers who are like, okay, great, we didn't want you to be having promiscuous sex, which led to abortions anyway, so this is fantastic. So I don't understand how that doesn't actually play against the Harris supporting women exactly.
And that's called 4B? I don't understand. Well, you
it's
said
where they're boycotting men.
So 4B,
yeah, they're boycotting sex
choosing to
with
boycott men. They're basically choosing not to have sex, not to get married, not to date, not to talk to men.
So then that's being 4B?
That's the 4B movement.
Yeah, let's just say that's 4B, yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
That just, okay.
But to kind of play into this, doesn't it seem that feminists who would make the claim that women are more than their sexuality and their sexual identity and are not to be objectified as purely sexual objects, if the very first response that they have to men voting en masse that abortions be outlawed to say we'll no longer have sex with you, aren't they essentially just kind of saying that they're sexual objects?
Kind of in a way. I could see that.
Yeah, kind of in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's ultimately very ironic that that these women's very first kind of response is to say, "Oh yeah, well we're not going to fuck random people anymore." It's like, well, that was the point, right?
That sucks for you guys, huh?
Yeah. I feel like a majority of the masses did what you implied that they did, which is probably factual. But, you know, if it calls me lazy and I do everything opposite to prove that I'm not, I don't see the bad part of it.
No, but, okay, well, I understand what you're saying. But let me maybe give you the response to this, right? Let's say somebody says, okay, you need to go to work because you're lazy. And you're like, I'm not lazy. That's not true, right? I'll show you by going to work, right? Aren't you doing exactly what they wanted you to do in the first place? Like that, right? Like that you're doing what they wanted you to do to begin with. So wouldn't that be the same case with abortions where they're like, we want you to stop sleeping with men so you have less abortions. And you're like, well, I'll teach you by sleeping with less men so I don't have abortions, right?
Right, I get the concept, yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like it's the same, you're applying the same thing here, right? So that's the general idea.
All right, we have a few guys. We're going to bump it back